Hey guys, what's going on? It's Blaze here coming at you with a brand new YouTube series. And this series, we're going to be talking about the infamous tier list season. The first video is going to be about the tanks and the race world first predictions. And then the second video is going to be about AOTC and mythic rating, kind of what you should look at playing if you're getting new into the mythic rating scene, or if you're looking to just get AOTC and what tanks are best for you. So be on the lookout to see the second video. This video right here, let's jump right into the tier list, guys. Let's get in. Let me swap scenes real quick. So right off the bat, we're going to be talking about tanks and what I'm kind of thinking the Race World First will play. And let's just kind of see what happens with the Race World First. But here's my predictions for that, okay? So right off the bat, we're kind of going to go over into the tier list and kind of discuss what I'm kind of thinking they're going to be playing. So right off the bat, we're going to be talking about Protection Paladin. Obviously, they just had changes to Protection Paladin where the 4-piece to Judgment now applies Hardfire. And in case you guys haven't been able to test it, Hardfire triggered from Judgment actually does a ton more healing than the normal Avenger Shield proc. Okay? So, and also on top of that, in case you guys haven't been keeping track of kind of 10.07 and kind of what's been going on, Protection Paladin is a beast to mess with. I mean, it is no longer a meme tank. It is like a insane tank. Like, this is the Giga Chad emoji tank. In case you guys didn't know, you can immune like every 1 minute and 45 seconds if you're spamming enough holy power. You can literally immune tank mechanics. You get double freedom now if you talent into it, which means you can freedom someone, gain freedom yourself, 25% movement speed. Also on top of that, they bring a new raid buff called Retribution Aura, which is pretty much a 90% active proc time on top of the raid, which gives you a 5% damage and healing buff. And it's pretty much up 100% of the time, essentially. It is very, very, very strong. And on top of that, obviously, what Paladin has always been known for is cheesing mechanics with what? Spell warding, immuning certain tank hits, removing tank debuffs when you immune. And with them able to get that immune off on CDR and then also bring spell warding, I truly do believe that Paladin will be played in some bosses, possibly every single boss coming into 10.1. So for that reason, I am going to be putting in S tier for the Race World First. Obviously, we do know Echo has just picked up Andybrews, and obviously we know from when he used to play with Method that he was super big into playing Protection Paladin. Even if you guys were able to catch his streams recently, he has been grinding to Protection Paladin, which leads me to believe I kind of do think he will be maining Protection Paladin. Maybe not every boss, but most bosses, when he's co-tanking with Meeres, I think we're going to be seeing him on that Protection Paladin. All right, so we are going to be putting in the S tier for the Race World First predictions and kind of what they're going to be playing. Next, guys, we're going to be jumping into pretty much the biggest raid buff bringer of the entire game, in my opinion, and that's going to be the Protection Warrior. This raid buff, has been pretty much acknowledged by Scribe and by Max himself that I mean, the raid buff ability is broken. There's been plenty of tiers in the past during the Race World First that they've been brought up in meetings that wish Rally wasn't, as powerful as it is. And obviously we saw that how strong it was going into 10.0. During Raz, we saw Rally carry a lot of spark overlaps, allowing to learn further into the fight, where obviously without that Rally, they wouldn't be able to learn that far. It was played by Meeres. I think Scott on Liquid played it as well. Unless he played Bloody K, I could be wrong. But it is played a lot, this tier. And in case you guys didn't know what the tier set changes to Warrior. Now pretty much what happens is your shield slam is buffed, and every time you shield slam, this has been changed to 1 second, so don't get confused there, guys. It has been changed to, here it is, to 1 second off of your last stand, okay? So pretty much every time you shield slamming, your last stand is getting off cooldown, and then while your last stand is on cooldown, your shield slam is blasting an AoE wave and giving the boss pretty much a 5% less hit to you. So Protection Paladin with its current tier, even with the nerfs it had, I think in early 10.0, it is still a very strong tank, constantly getting more pain. being able to last stand, I think pretty much a lot of the time. Spell Reflect is really strong. We even saw Spell Block be used during Razagath on some of the tank abilities. It's still a very, very strong tank, and obviously with Shield Wall and it bringing the Warrior Cry, the Battle Cry, in case, you know, Arms of Fury is kind of terrible, which we'll still have to kind of see the tuning there. We could see Protection Warrior definitely played in the race world first, so I am going to be putting it at that A tier. We will see it on some bosses. You might see it on some guilds in the top 20 on the planet. They might be playing out every single fight because they want to maybe set out a warrior to bring into their ranged DPS like the Devastation Evoker. But generally, the prot warrior is still looking very, very, very strong going into 10.1. And I think the race world first, we might see them actually played, okay? And with them bringing rally, of course, even if you have, you know, an arms, you have 2 arms warriors or something, even having a 3rd rally is very, very strong for every single mechanic. It's just a very powerful raid cooldown that the warrior brings, that other tanks, they don't have the opportunity to bring such a strong raid cooldown, okay? Next, we're going to be getting into the next biggest tank that I think is for surely going to be played. Guarantee you it's going to be played, and we're going to get into the details real quick about it, okay? So, right off the bat, we're going to be talking about Blood DK. So, Blood DK, guys, in case you didn't know, their tier set is very, very strong. Pretty much every single time your Heart Strike, your Blood Point, you get a chance to proc Vampiric Blood. And then Vampiric Blood, when you gain it, you're pretty much gaining strength. And then it extends the duration of it if you can keep it going. So pretty much it's the same concept kind of back in Season 3 and Season 4 with the tier set, where you pretty much, you get Vampiric Blood running at procs or it's going, and you're spam that Heart Strike to keep that bad boy up and running. It's pretty much the general gameplay idea. They haven't made any changes to it, so I think Blizzard's pretty happy with the way it is. And with it only be less than a month away, I don't think they're going to make any changes to Blood DK regarding like talents, regarding just the way the tier set works. I'm pretty sure they're pretty set on the way Blood DK is. I'm pretty sure they're happy with the way Blood DK is working. Now regarding the raid, Skarn, Rashuk, all these different fights, Blood DK brings a lot to the table, especially on the 6th boss when there's ads moving and there's possibility that you can grip them, you can D&D slow them. It's looking very powerful. And obviously on the 3-headed Hydra, excuse me boys, I don't really remember where exactly the boss is positioned, but I'm pretty sure it's the 7th, it's before Neltharion. That boss has a lot of knockback mechanics. And obviously, if you are playing a Blood DK, we all know with the changes in 10.0, DK gets double Death's Advance, which pretty much means you're not moving when the boss casts a knockback. And if you have Evoker, which I pretty much think the race world first, you're going to be running a Devastation Evoker, and you're probably going to be running a Preservation Evoker on some fights, you're pretty much going to be looking at 3 to 4 Death's Advance charges. So essentially it means the boss is not moving if you have a really good tank position, unless your rogue shadow step back on top without the boss moving back all the way around the room. So, and on top of that, there's a little bit more in-depth detail we're going to get into right now with the final boss, in case you guys haven't had a chance to really look at it. Pretty sure Echo and Liquid, they're already on top of this, looking deep into this already. But if you look into Phase 3 and the Void Slash, so pretty much how this mechanic is reading how it's going to work. The boss is going to hit you with the mechanic just like Durna did, and there's going to be after effect that is then applied to you. Now, the amount of damage that you take after the effect, upon expiration, it will release a void explosion, damaging to everyone, pretty much the entire raid room, okay? To all players. Just boom, blows up, okay? To everyone around you. Now, obviously from Durna, obviously from Mythic Sylvanas, we saw this as well. Maybe Blizzard overlooks it. Maybe they design it like that. Not really too sure how they do things there. But from what we know is Sylvanas, you were able to completely immune a lot of the tank debuffs with AMS. So pretty much if you had a Blood DK on Mythic Sylvanas, when she shot you with the Banshee's arrows, it would apply a stacking debuff on you. And in P3, when you got dispelled, it would drop puddles on the ground. Now, if you had a Blood DK, it'd make the fight substantially easier in Phase 3 because there'd be less puddles. And if you ran double Blood Death Knight, it would pretty much almost make it, if you were good, to where there was almost no puddles on platforms that you were getting, the tanks were getting dispelled on, if you played it perfectly, okay? It was very strong. And then on Durna, obviously we saw it during the Race to the World First, and even now for the lower end guilds reclearing, having a Blood DK substantially makes the fight easier by you not even having to deal with the tank soak. It is just gone from the game completely. You don't have to, it's not even a mechanic that you have to stress about with having a Blood DK. Now, I cannot promise you that is for sure what's going to happen with this tank ability, where you can negate an entire raid explosion if you have AMS. But if Blizzard overlooks it, or possibly, you know, they don't see it, having a tank debuff not explode on the raid and giving that more damage and more uptime to your healers to be able to deal damage is a huge deal. So for that reason, and for obviously the knockbacks and being able to death grip, D&D slow, bringing AMZ, all the capabilities that Blood DK has, it is going to be in that S tier. And I promise you, you are going to see it in the Race World First. Probably on every single boss. Or at least on the bosses that really, really matter to Echo and Liquid, like the final boss. If this mechanic, I'm telling you now, if this mechanic works the way I'm thinking it does, and AMS negates the Void Blast completely, you could possibly see double Blood DK rain on this fight. Especially when there's voids, portals sucking you in. You got things when you get dispelled that's knocking you back as well. There's things blowing up, knocking you back. And if you have a boss that isn't moving because you have Death's Advance running, and then you're also not taking any rated damage from the tank, running this certain tank, I can bet you right now Scribe is all on top of it, okay? So for that reason, we are going to be putting it into predictions. I am going to be putting it into S tier that most likely will be played. And also, we have had some intel here, so I'll kind of zoom in here so you guys get a good look, okay? So we have had some intel been leaked. He is building his physique to look like a tank, since I played it so often, and the meme goes around, you know, the meme always is going around that, you know, Atlas is always forced off the DPS to play tank. It's been happening forever. Guess what? He's locked into tank, and these pictures, obviously, that are getting pretty much pushed to the internet, you can bet you right now, Max has already been talking to Atlas, and he's going to be playing that Blood DK, okay? So from the pictures alone, come on, man. How would you not want someone that good looking to play a tank for you? Come on now. Woo, man. So he's going to be in that S tank, okay? He's going to be in that S tier for Blood DK. Next, guys, we're going to get into Brewmaster, okay? This is one of my least favorite, but we're talking about Race to the World First here. With the changes to, so mainly, Brewmaster kind of falls in category is the counterpart DPS, is it good? Do you want to run a Windwalker, yes or no? That's kind of what you always have to ask yourself. If it's no, then you run Brewmaster. Do you want to run Mistweaver? Is it good? Yes or no? If it's no, then you run Brewmaster. But if Mistweaver is good, then you don't run Brewmaster. If Windwalker is good, you don't run Brewmaster. That's pretty much how this tank works. So with the tier set change, generally speaking, they just changed it in case you guys weren't keeping track. Windwalker, they just changed it to where it boosts their single target by a huge amount. So pretty much Fierce of Fury does more damage to the primary target. It does an AoE explosion, 40%, 15 seconds. So it did buff them single target a little bit to make them more viable on bosses. So with that in the ring, and possibly more Mistweaver tuning coming down the line here, we could see in the Race World First. I'm not taking any big bets on it. Maybe we'll see Method play it. Maybe we see Insta Dollars and some other top 20 on the planet guilds play it. But between Echo and Liquid, we have 3 of these other tank options that are very strong. I just do not see them playing this tank currently. I could be wrong, you know, I could be wrong. Maybe it is played, but just with the way Windwalker's looking and the way Mistweaver's kind of looking right now, I kind of going to be putting in the D tier that's not going to be played at all. Okay, guys? It's mainly just going to be these top 3 tanks. Next, we're going to get into Guardian Druid. They just did some tuning to Guardian Druid. I know I'm not gonna waste my breath. Let's be real. Is D tier? It's dead. It's just dead. Why would you want to bring this Echo or Liquid when you can bring Double Freedom, Spell Warding? You could bring a Rally. Like, what are you gonna bring? 1 minute roar? Let's be serious, man. Be serious. Especially on this raid tier, when we looked at the actual bosses so far in PTR testing. Rashuk, a bunch of these Neltharion, maybe the last boss, but I mean, come on now. You're going to have a Resto Druid, or you're going to guarantee you're running a Balance Druid with the recent changes they just made to him. I mean, we could even see a Pharaoh Druid in the race world first. I highly doubt that. It's probably going to be a Resto Druid, or a obviously a balance, most likely a Balance Druid. Every team on the planet has a Balance Druid, and they're usually very good players. And with the tier set change they just made, Astral Star chain they just made to Balance Druid, you're going to be seeing that Balance Druid brought in over this 1 minute roar. Okay, let's be real. All right, Vinya's Demon Hunter. Vinya's Demon Hunter is still kind of up in the air right now. We could keep seeing changes to Havoc, whether they nerf him, buff him a little bit more. And once again, it's one of those tank specs where it's really determined on the DPS spec of it. Just kind of like how it is for Brewmaster. Now, with the current tuning to Havoc, I really can't tell you for sure prediction, but with the other three tanks looking as strong as they are survivability-wise, and with like one tank bringing immune, a way to cheese mechanic, another tank bringing a cheat death, not being able to get knocked back, one bringing a rally, which is like broken, and on top of that, if you want to run the cheat death, he does have a cheat death as well. I just, I don't know. I'm just going to kind of put in that C tier for right now. I just, I don't see it played in the race world first. I could be wrong, though. I could be wrong, but we'll kind of see. But race world first, I don't really see it played. But we'll kind of look at the tier set real quick as well, while we're just talking about it. So generally, the Soul Fragment heal for 10% more. It's kind of basic. Sear and Fracture deal fire damage, assuming Soul Fragments your next shear does applies Fairy Brand to his target, which is really good. Gives Vinya's Demon Hunter a lot more survivability in those windows that your Demon Spikes falls off. Blizzard really been trying to address this this past year, pretty much allowing the tank to the Vinya's Demon Hunter not to fall off with Demon Spikes, and constantly applying Fiery Brand is going to be pretty decent. If you have enough haste, you can probably get it up pretty much most of the time. But I just think these other three tanks are far superior in the race world first. So for sure, guys, this is my tier list for the race world first predictions. Please leave the comments down below whatever you guys think is the tank will be played during the race world first. But I definitely think Meeres, we're going to see him maybe on the Bloody Cave, maybe the Prot Warrior, and then we'll see Andy. We'll probably definitely see him on the their Prot Paladin. Scott, we'll probably see him pick up the Warrior, maybe the Pally, and then I think we'll see Atlas on the Bloody Cave for sure. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now with the race world first predictions and the top two guilds on the planet, kind of what they'll be playing. Like I said, please leave a like and subscribe, guys, and please leave your comments down below what you think about this. The next video coming out will be about AOTC and lower end mythic tanking. If you're looking to tank for your first cutting edge, the next video will be for you guys. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I deeply appreciate all the love and support, and take care, guys. Thank you for watching. Peace out.